Today we're going to be finding out about one of my favorite organizations out there when it comes to adventure motorcycling, Rally for Rangers. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Chad with BeGoneForGood. I know it has been way too long since we talked, but last month when I was at Overland Expo East, I had an opportunity to sit down and talk a little bit about the Rally for Rangers organization and wanted to get a video out to you to show you a little bit about how to get involved, what the trips are like, upcoming opportunities for you to be a part of the Rally for Ranger clan. And here is everything I've got. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, definitely leave those down below. And if you like this sort of thing about adventure motorcycling and how to get involved in the broader community, definitely subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you get notifications every time we upload a new video, which hopefully will be a lot more often coming up here. And hit that thumbs up if you like this specific video. It helps out the channel significantly. All out of the way. Let's get to the interview.
So I'm Tom Medema, co-founder of Rally for Rangers, and Rally for Rangers is a nonprofit that brings new motorcycles to park rangers around the world. So we know that rangers out there don't have the gear and equipment that they need, and so we recruit adventure riders from all over who do their own fundraising, join us on these rallies, and at the end of each rally, the park rangers of Nepal, Mongolia, Peru, they get a new motorcycle. We get the adventure, they get the motorcycle,
right,
and everybody wins.
Okay. And typically, I know that I looked at this, and you guys started in Mongolia.
Yes.
But now I've stretched to a bunch of different countries.
Yeah, that's right. And the idea came along in 2013. There was a retired U.S. Park Ranger, Bob McIntosh, who was working with the rangers in Mongolia and found their equipment to be terribly substandard. And the motorcycle that was being used by the ranger he was talking to in that moment actually fell apart right on the spot. And Bob committed in that moment to come back the next year and bring that ranger a new motorcycle. Well, 15 people heard that story, and 1 year later, 15 people showed up, 15 new motorcycles for all of the rangers in Lake Hostel National Park in Mongolia, and that's how the idea was born.
So right off the bat, you guys were already hit the ground running,
first
ready
year,
to go.
and we thought it was a one-time thing, and but it was so successful, and there were so many people who heard about it and wanted to be involved. And we're like, okay, we'll do 20 bikes next year. And so the following year, we came with 20 riders, and we went to the 3 national parks just adjacent to that lake and donated those 20 bikes to the rangers there, and kind of the movement was born. We're like, we're onto something here, and we just kept going. And now it's been 8 rallies, 3 different countries, 120 plus motorcycles now, and 30, 40 more this year, and it just keeps going.
And my understanding, we talked about this earlier, you've done every mile of every one of those journeys.
So far,
right?
I have done every mile of every rally. Yeah, that has been such an amazing circumstance that I've avoided injury. I've been able to do the travel, take the vacation time. It's hard to believe that would be sustainable, but at least to this point, my partner Wesley and I are the only ones who have done every rally. And delivered bikes every time.
Incredible. So what is next? The next trip up for you guys?
Next trip is just a month away in Bhutan. The bikes are there, the Royal Enfield Himalayans, 15 of them are sitting in Bhutan waiting for us. They've been delivered. So now we just have to get through the COVID protocols and hope that travel to Bhutan is open, because right now it's closed. So we have 4 weeks basically to wait and see if we can get flights in, pick up our bikes and do the rally. It was postponed a year because we were supposed to do it last year.
Right.
So we are already delayed a year, but now we're ready to go with 15 riders and just hoping we can get there in a few weeks.
And I heard you had a special guest for that ride, potentially.
Well, yeah, I mean, that rally is going to be pretty remarkable because we're finally getting some industry people and people who have been longtime supporters of ours, like Moscow Moto. Pete, Ashley, Andrew from Moscow are ready to go and join us. They'll be on that trip with us. We have a couple of Mongolian riders that are coming to Bhutan on that trip. We have some of our alumni from other rallies that are joining us as well, and then several new riders who we recruited just this year who signed on to join. So it's a great mix of people. It's going to be an incredible.
That's pretty incredible. And I heard there's a potential for an Africa and a South America in the future.
Yeah,
over the next
so
couple of years?
Peru is pretty well baked at this point in May of 2022. So we're working with CERNAMP, the national park system there, and the Frankfurt Zoological Society as our in-country nonprofit. So we're sourcing those bikes right now, planning the route, recruiting riders. We've got about 10 of the 15 slots filled right now, tentatively for May. So that's the next one after Bhutan. Then we'll do Mongolia again in July. Next summer we do Mongolia every year.
Okay.
And then we're hoping in the fall of 2022 or the early winter to go to Africa for the first time, somewhere in southern Africa, Mozambique, South Africa, Namibia. We're planning that trip right now as well.
And the mission is always the same. It's always working with national parks, national rangers, things like that.
Exactly. The mission's always the same. So we identify parks that use motorcycles. We're not introducing a new tool. These are parks that are already using bikes. For the most part, they don't have the quality of bike they need or as many bikes as they need. So that mission is always the same wherever we go. So we need to know that the park is going to be able to use the bikes we bring. We source them locally so that they can get parts, they can maintain them, right? We're not introducing a new bike to an area. And that the rangers ride, and that they can use them to patrol and combat poaching and all those things. So those are some of the prerequisites to having a rally in a specific country and an NGO in that country to purchase, license, and insure the bikes. So it's quite a collection of partners to pull off a rally.
Because I heard some of these rangers, it's so remote that they literally have just massive amount of acreage that they have to cover, which is what these bikes are for, to kind of like the amount of area these guys have to cover.
And that's why it started in Mongolia. Many countries like ours, Nepal, they have motor pools. And so there are various rangers using one car, one bike for their purposes. In Mongolia, in particular, in some other countries, there's a single ranger has a horse and a motorcycle, and they are responsible for tens of thousands, of hectares to cover on their own. So they'll go out from their family for 6 days, 8 days at a time, and so they need reliable transportation, to be able to cover that territory. So it is very much in Mongolia, one motorcycle, one ranger. And some other countries, again, it's a donation to a motor pool that many rangers use to combat fire and poaching. But in many places, it is just that one ranger with that one bike. So they treat it just like they do their horse. They care for it, they feed it, they use their own money to keep it up, and it is a lifeline for them.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. And so, what is the kind of the baseline price tag? What is it? How does somebody get involved in this?
Yeah, so the buy-in for each rally right now is $10,750, and again, all of that's can be written off, which is a great benefit for people who are coming along. And about half of that pays for the motorcycle in country, and half of that pays for all the expenses once we land in country. So we're fully supported. We don't want to load the bikes heavily because we want them to be kept in as good a shape as possible. So support vehicles carry most of our stuff. We have medical along on every trip. We have mechanics along on every trip, and then the support crew of drivers and gear that goes with us every night. Some countries it's camping, like Mongolia. We're bringing tents and kitchen and all that with us. Some countries, like Peru, will be in hotels and eat in restaurants and things like that. So it just depends on the country what that support looks like. But that buy-in is what covers everything from when you land and the motorcycle that you donate. And then the flights are beyond that because people come from all different places and the flight costs.
But essentially the costs from when you get in country to when you're leaving country are all under that umbrella.
That's right. Except for the alcohol.
Right. Sure. Because that price line.
Because that can be variable depending on the individual.
Yeah. And we had talked about you had a pretty robust kind of fundraising strategy set up to help folks hit these marks, which are understandably a little bit high. But they're completely doable when you use the resources that you guys have and kind of go through those metrics. Can you tell us a little bit about
and the
how people
costs
get there?
are really comparable. If you're going to just take a private tour somewhere and rent a bike, you're going to pay as much or more. And we're leaving the bike behind, that part of it as a donation. But people need the help with the fundraising. And so fortunately right now, crowdsourcing is ubiquitous, right? GoFundMe, Indiegogo, all of those things, people have tremendous success. And we're fortunate that we have incredible visual collateral. Photographers like Phil Bond and Fisher Creative create this video and still photography that really paints a picture and tells a story. So we help people put together presentations for family and friends, fundraisers at their local motorcycle shop, or any other type of fundraising that they do. Give them the tools they need, the tax letters, the IRS letters for their donors. So all of that really helps for them to generate the income and generate the donations. And we've had incredible success with almost 100 different riders now, raising money from a host of sources all over the place to help cover the cost of the trip.
That's good. And that's something that from start to commitment to final fundraising, like for instance, the May trip, where are people in their fundraising scheme?
Just getting started.
Okay.
Yeah, people are just setting up GoFundMe's, just getting started with kind of their family and friends. Some people can just write a check for it, and
Sure.
they just do that, and then they write it off, or their company writes it off. But most people need to go through that process. So we are tied in with the GoFundMe's and the Indiegogos so that we're already in the system. So those monies funnel through.
Channel directly.
And yeah. And a lot of people, more people all the time have company matching. There's a lot of companies with social purpose who will match their employees' donations. So we get a lot of riders from companies that are supported that way. So that's another way that they can buy in. And then I have to say the sponsors that we have, the gear sponsors, Moscow Moto, Senna, Double Take Mirrors, Ram Mounts, Moto Skivvies has supported us in the past. Climb. They donate and they also provide gear for some of the riders, and those riders then give that gear to the Rangers also. So they don't just get the bike, but they maybe get a helmet, maybe a tail bag, and those things. And so we also use their donations in our fundraising. To help raise money. So we've had a broad community of support in the moto community to help us help meet our fundraising goals.
Because you guys are all volunteer right now. This
All
is something you guys
volunteer.
are just doing out of the passion for the
That's
mission.
right. That's right. My co-founder and I, Wesley, both have full-time jobs otherwise, so this is all volunteer on the side. And so we don't have any overhead as an organization. And that's something that, again, has kept our costs lower than what they otherwise might be. But it also, all the riders are volunteers just like us. And I do my own fundraising every year too. Every rally I'm doing my own fundraising. And that's just how the whole thing works.
And if somebody were interested in getting started, seeing some of the visuals that you had mentioned, things like that, where can they find that?
Rallyforrangers.org is the best place to get. There's lots of collateral there, a lot of stories of the Rangers who we're giving to, a lot of stories of the riders who have been going with us are on there.
So what kind of bikes are you typically taking into these?
We always make sure, we always make sure to source the bikes in country, right? We don't want to introduce a bike that they are not able to maintain and fix, and we want to buy local. We want to support the economy. So in Mongolia, it's the Yamaha AG200. At Argentina, it was a Beta Argentina. In Peru, we're looking at a Honda 190. In Bhutan, it's the Royal Enfield Himalayan. So we ask the parks, what do you need? What do you use? And we will bring those bikes in. So we always try to make sure we source local and get the bikes that they need, maybe not the bikes that would be our first choice to ride, although they're all fantastic bikes.
Sure.
Yeah.
And do you guys ever get any sort of pushback about like, why not just ship bikes in? Like,
It's kind of a common question, like why do you have to go? What's the deal?
Right.
And it's really about that crowdfunding thing. If I come to my family and friends and say, hey, I want to buy a motorcycle and ship it to Mongolia, I might get a few dollars. When I go to my friends and I show them these Rangers and I say, I'm going to travel there on our behalf and I'm going to deliver this bike myself to that park ranger, it's a whole different level of support. And people have really been able to raise money on that story. Right. And it's like a cancer ride or cancer walk or whatever. People want to support somebody doing something to contribute actively to the purpose, so they can live vicariously through you in that adventure, and they're part of it. And this year, for the first time, we brought stickers of all of our donors to our documentary.
Oh yeah.
And we put them on the bikes. So there are 100 names of donors rolling across the Mongolian steppe, and you send people the picture of their name on this bike, and it's amazing, So it's that active participation that really helps to get us over the top in terms of.
It's building that connection. Like the more connection you feel to that mission, to that prospect, it's the more likely it's going to be.
And I found with donors of my own, they give more each time. Like they're so excited and they see the results, the tangible results, because the bikes are making a difference. We see that there's a reduction in poaching, and that we had 2 bikes in Mongolia that were burned by poachers.
Interesting.
So that's
so they recognize it.
They recognize the threat. Now, thankfully, they didn't harm the Rangers, but we're like, okay, it's working clearly, because if they see that as a threat, then we need to do more of it. We brought 2 more bikes to replace those because we won't be outdone, by those poachers.
Right. And you had mentioned a documentary forthcoming?
Yeah. So we did a successful Kickstarter campaign just before COVID started. We got through, did a successful Kickstarter, and then we had to pause for a year. But we just finished filming on this latest Mongolia trip, and so the documentary that Fisher Creative is doing for us, it's a group out of Idaho, amazing filmmakers, that will be done by the end of this year. So we'll start the film festival circuit in 22, and we'll just have this incredible story to tell through this documentary, and we're really stoked to get that launched.
And that's something people can see on the website as well?
Yeah, they'll see a lot of the teasers that are on our YouTube channel. It has a lot of the teasers for the documentary. And so they can find that there, and of course Facebook as well. And so
So you got the full slate of socials. I can put that down in the description.
That's right. Facebook, YouTube.
Is there anything that somebody could do if they weren't necessarily ready to make the big jump? Do you guys have kind of smaller steps? Like, can people just donate to you? Can people, buy like T-shirts and stuff like that?
You bet. I mean, obviously, there's only 15 people at a time that can take one of these trips. So donating in support of people that are taking the trips is incredibly important and helpful. Just straight up donations to Rally for Rangers helps us buy gear and parts for the bikes that we've already donated. If the tires start wearing out, if the batteries are going, we go to Mongolia, we can give them new spark plugs, new batteries, new tires. So donations help us do that. And right now, as much as anything, we need people to spread the word. We need people to do that, like on Facebook, share it with their friends, follow us on YouTube, and see the film, share the film, and really spread the word, because there's still so many people that don't know what Rally for Rangers is. And so that word spreading is as important as anything right now.
Good. And is there anywhere that you guys will be? I know you guys were at Overland Expo East. Are there any future festivals? Anybody wants to come talk to you? Is there a way that they can?
Yeah, I mean, right now they can look for us in 2022. We'll be trying to do as many Overland Expos as we can. We're starting to do the international motorcycle shows, the IMS shows there as well. I tend to go to the BMW rallies as a BMW rider myself. I went to the BMW RA in North Carolina last month, 2 months ago. So we try to show up to as many shows as we can, so that people can meet us and talk about it and sign up. But they can find us on the web and sign up on the socials as well.
Fantastic. Sounds great. Thank you very much. I appreciate everything.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for watching. Again, this is Chad with BeGoneForGood. I hope that answered all of your questions. If it didn't, definitely leave a question down below. I will see if I can get it answered for you. Otherwise, thank you for watching. If you like this sort of content, subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that bell so you get notifications every time we release a new video, and I will see you in the next one.